Hello friends, welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading Channel, Midweek Edition. If today is the first time you're visiting with us, we want to extend to you a very warm welcome. Extend is the word I used.
I was like, explain, extend, what are we saying?
And invite you to watch any of our over 550 videos, arranged for your convenience in playlists, as we are confident you're going to find something both useful and entertaining to watch. If you've been here before, welcome back. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. One of the most common things that we do, both winter and summer, is use those small canisters of propane to, let's say, power camping stoves, or in the winter, propane heaters, etc. Right? There are many uses for this. The problem is that between $5 and $7 per bottle, that is a very, very expensive pound of propane. And many people have gotten into reusing those bottles. So today we're going to talk about reusing them, the myths about them, and the safer way to do it. So stick around if you're interested, and we're going to show you how to go from $7 per bottle to 54 cents a bottle by doing it yourself. So what do we need for this operation is an adapter that allows you to adapt a 20-pound or larger propane bottle to connect to the 1-pound propane bottles. They are very inexpensive. They can be found all over Amazon, and this is a required piece of equipment. This is not required. We're going to show you how to use it. It's just a normal little Allen wrench. Again, it's a nice thing to have, but it's not required. What else is required? Of course, it's required that you have the bottles, right?
A scale is a nice to have or a requirement?
Oh, a scale is nice, and we're going to show you what we do with it, but it is really not necessary.
Okay.
And this is not necessary either, but if you have a little bit of things to burn, or if you're not sure if your propane tank is empty, you can use that, right? And what that is a self-igniting torch.
Torch, and they've seen us use that quite a bit.
I believe so, yeah. This is Elpida's favorite Suzuki ban.
Until I get to use the big one.
And now we have an extra tank, so you can
Oh.
not little 1-pound propane bottles. Here,
Right, but now I need to get a big project to burn.
You can burn the house. So stick around, and we're going to talk about safety, and we're going to tell you everything you need to know to do this process correctly. So here is a typical bottle. All of them have them, and you see here there are 2 valves. This is where typically you are going to attach whatever you're attaching to, and this is actually a relief valve. And something that I have seen that is very worrisome and very dangerous is people use a pair of hemostats or pliers and lifting this valve to release pressure. Now you might say, well, why this is a problem? This valve is dialed at an exact setting so it can release pressure to prevent this bottle from exploding, right? Doing anything to this valve, potentially damaging this valve, makes the bottle more dangerous, and also operates it against the way it's supposed to be. It was designed, right? It's supposed to be getting pressure from underneath the valve. It is not supposed to be released from the top. However, this top valve, was designed for multiple purposes, because you can plug it and unplug it in different systems, and also it's much easier. You don't need any special tools, but this little device, right, the Allen key, and we're going to show you how easy that is. But first, we like to weigh ours, and the reason for that is we found out that an empty bottle is between 14 to 15 ounces in weight, right? And the difference is because of manufacturing differences. You know, it's a steel thing, so it will never be the same. So we're at 14.8, and so more than likely this is either completely empty or nearly empty bottle, right? So, and we're going to use our Allen wrench, and if you come here, you see the hole there, right? We're going to use our Allen wrench. I'm going away because Elpida does not like the smell. Now this will smell,
Nasty.
but it's not propane actually. It's just the smell. Propane has a chemical added to it for the smell. It doesn't have a normal smell.
Well, whatever it is, it smells. Woo.
So now, you notice you don't see anything white. Propane is white. it stinks, but doing that will allow you to have more, fill the bottle more, right? Anyway, 14.8, we're going to, when it stops making any sound, and actually if you want to put your hand over there, you're going to see that you're not going to freeze. It is cool because it's cold outside, but if this was propane, I would have frozen by now. I mean, you know what happens when propane runs. I mean, how often it
Oh,
is.
and there's the stink.
Huh?
So then there is the stink.
What stink?
The rotten egg stink.
Right.
Ugh.
And you hear it now, it's getting less and less, right?
Yes.
Now we're going to leave that until it is over. Again, this is a safer way because this valve is intended to be used multiple times. We are pressing it in the way it is intended to be pressed, right? When you put a device on, you press it down, the device presses it down, right? So let's see now.
It's kind of.
$13.85, so that made a substantial difference, right?
Yeah, it did.
So I'm using my little torch now to kind of evacuate the whole bottle, right? But that has a little more than I would have liked, I guess.
Yeah. And more than you expected to have in it.
Yeah. I hate to waste it, I guess we'll fill it. I just don't like wasting it.
So does that tell us that your buddy heater shuts down before the bottles are completely empty?
Well, the body heater, because he has two bottles, it will stop when one of them is empty. So if it is not... Now another thing you can do is you can hear, or if you LP that with the super extreme nose, you can smell it for about 9 miles.
Yeah.
But you will be able to hear it if it is leaking, right?
Yeah.
And where is our mic so I can put it? As you can hear, nothing can be heard here, right?
Although there is a faint odor, so.
Yes. Especially for those of us with very sensitive noses.
Yes, those of us.
And this now has dropped to... I didn't mean to do that. See, I have to be patient. I don't know what it is, but... So it's 13.79 ounces, and usually I was going to write it, but apparently this bottle seems to have some left in it, right? So we're just going to fill it. When we are positive that there is nothing in the bottle, and we do that by using the self-lighting torch, then we write the empty weight on the bottle, because again, they are not all the same,
Right.
and we need to know how much we filled it. So we're going to remember that it's 1379, right? And another thing, again, I don't think it's necessary, but we do it because we like to store our propane in our soap and we don't want any leakage, right? So we purchased these propane caps, and you see they have a plastic, or not a plastic, a rubber
Seal.
seal inside. So it will prevent small leaks. When you fill it, you close it, and if the bottle is leaking a little, it's not going to leak all over the place. Again, this is not a mandatory thing. This is a
And how much were those caps?
$4 for 6.
That's not bad.
No, I mean in the past we were using this, which is what the bottles are coming
Right,
from.
just the little plastic caps.
You always, especially if you don't, if you store them something like our soap, in which we have a lot of dust, you don't want to leave this open because the valve can be damaged, right? So it is better to protect it. Now a couple of things with our. If you want to come down here in the bottom, this device is a reverse thread device, which means it's lefty-tighty,
Yep.
as you can see. And you attach it first. This has to be closed, right? So So you attach it, because as you attach it, of course, this is opening this valve, right?
Right.
That's why it has to be closed. Then I don't like to be down on the floor, and this has to be upside down. Propane is actually liquid, right? So for us to fill it, we need to turn this upside down. Otherwise, it will not fill. So with this attached, we are going to now.
And you don't want to stand in front of this while you're
No, you have to. You see how
installing
I
it.
am sitting? No, that was a good thing because people,
Yep.
especially when you take it off, it's not as much danger when you put it on because there is no pressure.
Yep. So you might want to have, what kind of pliers are they to help make sure that you're,
Any form of pliers, and
but again, this is a brass fitting, so you need to be careful you don't
right, you
tear
do
it
not
up.
want to over tighten it. Usually tighten it by hand
By hand.
is enough. And
By
now
hand.
I'm going to tilt it. And I don't know, you want to bring the mic here so they can be hearing it? Because you're going to hear a sound, we hope. You hear it?
Well, I can hear it.
And that is the propane actually emptying in this bottle.
Okay. And this
Now
should take about a minute, right?
Yeah, less than a minute. But you will hear it stopping.
Well, in other words, you won't hear the hissing sound anymore.
Right. Well, and it's going to get softer and softer, so you might have to put your ear on it. But as you can hear it now, can you hear it?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's almost there. Now, you always do this outside. I mean, you notice when I put it in, because I hand tightened it, actually it came loose.
Yes, that's why I was asking about the...
So, you don't want propane in a building, for sure. So now, we should be approximately at a minute. What do you think?
I think so.
We don't smell anything, so we know we don't have any major leaks.
And then you have to turn the main tank valve off again.
Because if you leave it on, this will become a projectile.
Right.
I mean, and that's why no
and then
matter
you'll have
what,
propane everywhere, which is not a good thing.
But no matter what, you need to be, now is when you need to be away.
And in this case, it is a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Yeah.
It's just the valve that goes to your main tank that's the opposite.
And you're going to hear it. It's going to be pressure.
Ooh. And
And
there
you
was
saw the
the white
propane.
cloud, yeah.
Now it's a good practice to put it in your ear, and I will put it next to the mic for you guys. And I don't hear anything, which means that more than likely we have no leaks. And here is your ear,
I don't hear anything.
and here is next to the mic, and I'm sure you
The
won't be
mic is
hearing
right here.
anything.
Yeah.
So now, let's wait again.
It stinks, though.
Well, because that
I know.
this is not leaking. And what were we, 13?
It was 1379.
29.7. So it put, and probably had a little bit more in. So at the minimum, this is 80% filled. Now there are some people, oh, here we go, we're going to put them, and the other good thing about that is we know when we put the brass, we know these are refilled. So it serves two purposes.
Right, so for the refilled ones, we put the brass caps on, and then when they have been emptied, we put the plastic ones back on.
Right. So in most cases, in the vast majority of the cases, we write this is a new first time refilled bottle, right? And in the majority of the cases, we'll write the empty weight here. We didn't do it this time because we weren't convinced that it was actually empty, right?
Right.
But what we found so far is between 14 to 15 ounces for weight on empty tanks, right? But we have not found two that they're exactly the same weight.
No.
So here is this one. And this is 1379. So
That
I
was
guess-
the same.
So let's see if we will hear anything to this. We don't see anything. And within a couple of seconds, really, this should stop. And unlike the other one, I think I hear this slowing. Right? So we'll come back. Let's empty this.
Okay.
So here's how you hear it if the valve stays a little open. I hope you capture that, right?
Well, I hope so.
1342. Apparently the bottles we did before were a little heavier built. Now notice this one has a
little bit of frost.
plastic,
yeah,
where the
plastic.
other ones don't. So, and so does this. I wonder if that's a difference in manufacturing.
Yeah, this is a Coleman brand. The other one is a different brand. Okay.
So we'll wait and see. The process is exactly the same. We're going to do it the same way. 1339. Again, stay away, stay clear if you can. This is all brass, so do not cross-thread it.
Right. And again, being mindful that your main valve can come loose since you're turning it right at this point.
Right. Now the good thing is you're going to hear it if it comes loose. The bad thing is you're going to smell it if it comes loose.
Yeah. That doesn't seem to be threading very well, does it?
No, it isn't. Alright. Let us see what's wrong with this, guys. This is not a normal... I think now it cuts.
There it goes, yeah. So it is important to make sure that the threads are catching and you're not cross-threading and
Right,
all
no
of
matter
that
what,
stuff.
don't cross-thread. I mean, part of the reason is I was being very gentle. And now we're going to open it again. You hear it again, I hope. And you start slowly when you open the valve. Some of the newer bottles have a mechanism that if it all comes out at once, it thinks that it is leaking, so it will stop. And then you will not feel it. And this is noisy, we can hear it now. This is the first
This
one.
actually sounds like rain on a roof or something.
So you wait again a minute. Again, what are the safety and the things that people do wrong? Do not use the relief valve, right? That is very critical. Many videos out there ask you to lift the relief valve either with a pair of hemostats or with a pair of pliers. They don't know pliers. Do not do that. You're defeating a very important safety mechanism of the bottle, right? And I think this bottle is finished now.
I don't hear it anymore, so.
Yeah, neither do that. It's about a minute. If you want to measure it, it's about a minute. It's not going to put more when it equalizes the pressure. Now at this stage it's okay to turn it. Again, stay away. You're going to see the pressure release. It wasn't as good as the first one, but...
Well,
And now with this off,
that means we didn't lose propane this time,
with this off now you can remove this.
the valve. If you're done filling your tanks, yeah.
Now for us, we have a tank specifically for this purpose and a tank for our grill, but of course they're interchangeable.
Are you gonna weigh this one now?
Sure. Holy. That put 10 ounces in it.
Yeah, well that's good.
So again, it is not critical. I mean, I see people reopening the valves again until they put the whole, fill the bottle with. When it is fully filled, I think is 1 pound is what, 16 ounces?
Yeah,
And how many we put?
around 10, just under.
So your 70-80%, it doesn't cost you more. It's the same, you just have to refill it maybe one more time, right? Maybe in 11 bottles you need to do one more. It's not a big deal. We didn't find any difference when we burn. Primarily we use those in our little body.
Yeah,
And we didn't see any difference when we burn it, do we? I mean,
no.
it's still about the same time, so don't get too worried about that. Again, we're going to put, I'm listening to it, I don't hear anything. I'm going to put my brass cap on it. Again, this is brass, tight, but it doesn't need to be, you know, extremely hard.
You don't need foot-pounds pressure on it.
Right. Now we notice, and this is accidental, that it looks like the Coleman tanks Coleman tanks are a little lighter, empty than the other tanks we use, which I
Yes.
forget what they are.
I
But,
forgot to.
there are 3 or 4 different brands. In essence, they are all the same design, though, right? The valves are the same. They tend to be all green, I believe, right? And there are some other ones that are blue that they are
More for plumbing.
kind of thinner, right?
Yeah, tall
taller.
and skinny, and they're typically for plumbing applications.
They
Is what they
refill
sell
the same
them.
way.
Yeah.
It's identical. So anything else we forget, Elpida? And now we have ready 2 more.
Tanks.
Again, you don't have to write. I like to write the empty weight so we know how much we put in. Mm-hmm. It's not necessary. We're just a little anal that way. This is nice, not necessary. The torch is nice, not necessary. This is totally necessary. You cannot do it without.
So, is
it.
there a lifespan on these cans?
Well,
on
I
these?
wouldn't refill them more than probably 50 times or so, right? And definitely if the valves start leaking, you stop using it, right? Which is another thing I forgot. If these valves start leaking, you're going to lose your pound of propane, and you cannot use it. It is dangerous at that point, right? So if you leave this valve open, if you damage it, not only you won't be able to use the tank anymore, but it becomes dangerous. Where this, if it's leaking and you put it in a device, as you will probably see here, these have gaskets inside. So when we put that on, even if in a leaking tank, this will stop the leak. Does that make sense? I can still use it, throw the tank away, or put like an X on it. And the other thing that I've been doing is I start putting dates on them. I don't know if you can see it here. That says 02-2021.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not going to use them for 10 years, but I haven't decided what is
A good number of refills.
I think I'll go with fill. You know, definitely if you see signs of corrosion, I wouldn't use them. If you see them rusting, right? If you see bulking, if you start seeing like bubbling,
Bulging.
yeah, I wouldn't use it. But some of it is personal nature. And remember I said safer. This involves some risk, right? You mitigate the risk by doing the right things. You mitigate the risk by using the top valve, not the relief valve. And you mitigate the risk by doing it outside. Can something still go wrong? Yes, but if you take care, it will minimize the opportunity, the chance, not the opportunity for you to get hurt. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is our short episode for today, or end up being a longie instead of a shortie.
Probably a little bit longer than you intended, but
We hope you found value to this episode, and if you did, we would appreciate a thumbs up. If you didn't, the other button works as well. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know what else you would like to see in our channel. From Dr. Wizard, Elpida, and the Urban Homesteading channel, farewell, friends. Stay safe, wash your hands, put your masks on, and we're going to see you on the weekend with another fun project.